What will AI technology bring to FM?
I think it's scary, but it's a massive opportunity for the industry to embrace. But it really comes back to the principle of technology for technology's sake. And so many times, I mean, we've got some great solutions here. I've seen, as we've had the networking session, with things like sensors and devices, all with real good use cases as to what they're going to solve. And I think the problem with technology a lot of the times is that people are trying to find a use for it rather than it actually providing that value add to your business. And with any technology, the first thing it needs to do is, how's this going to benefit me? Are we going to reduce costs, or is it going to make someone's life better? And that's where, when we start looking at AI and what that can do for FM, maybe we should start with the smaller steps. Maybe it could provide more of a digital assistant for the experience of the people in a workplace, or maybe it could actually enhance your delivery offering as an FM service provider. So it's not necessarily we need to say, I mean, a few years ago, I think the market got quite despondent when everyone was talking about predictive maintenance and plug in a certain provider and suddenly you've automated your maintenance through prediction and prognostics, and no one really knew what that meant, and no one understood the actual effort you'd have to put in to get there. And once it's up and running, it's great, but it's not an overnight solution. But I think the new thing in terms of the ChatGPT, we're seeing something overnight that's come in and is starting to change the way people can interact with services. It has its limitations at the moment. It's all down to the actual data that it's learned off, and that's something we need to consider, that our reliance on that data is only as good as the input of the data in the first place. So when, for example, we're SFG 20, we provide the maintenance standards for engineering across the UK and it's used across the world. We say that this is a ratified process, but if you're producing that from a ChatGPT script, how do you know if that's right or not? And are we actually ready to put that in front of an engineer and say, take this schedule and maintain based on their learning, because we're not sure on the actual reliability of that data? So I think the answer to your question is there is massive opportunity. The sector will need to embrace it, and let's see what happens.
One particular point that we're really embracing at the moment is smart buildings. Some of our clients are institutional landlords, and one of their core KPIs is sustainability, as I'm sure everyone is aware of. So really analysing the energy usage and the carbon footprint, I mean, that is at the forefront of our KPIs. But then also, how does the on-site team translate that data to really deliver on our KPIs? That's something I think we're still working on. Is the data easily translatable so everybody really understands how to make improvements based on that data? But generally speaking, I think that is the future. And I think it's something that we all have to embrace. I know when I'm looking at procurement partners, their ethos to technology is pretty high up there for me. It used to be cost, but I've grown older and I value more things now. And I think an organisation's ability to be progressive and safeguard themselves, future-proof themselves, it really is up there at the moment. And things like some of the providers that I've met today really going to help operators bridge that gap in a seamless way.
There's technology out there that us as FM providers can advise clients on to actually add income generation to their business. We operate quite a bit in the retail sector, and there's technologies out there which we're in discussions with of implementing that actually link into the marketing department and will allow them to gather data on their clientele who come into their premises and then actually directly almost advertise to that client based on what they were looking at within that specific store. And that is something that, from a technology standpoint, for a client as an end user, we are bringing that to their doorstep, and it's actually value adding to their business. It's not just, you need this gimmicky technology because it's going to improve our efficiency. It's going to mean that we have to do less engineer visits and that sort of thing. Those are the obvious ones. Those are the ones that we're driving to increase sustainability, reduce carbon footprint, lower costs for the client. But actually, there is technologies there. We're at that point where we can bring it in and we can actually increase revenue for you yes, in an indirect way, but it's actually a value-added product for them.
What advice do you have for those looking to adopt smart tech solutions?
My main one is this is a personal one, is with your home, the ability to understand and better monitor your energy usage is phenomenal. It's a real example of how technology should be used to provide you with information so you can make those key decisions. To be fair, just as a CAFM system does around your day-to-day operations and where you plan work and things like that, I think the ability for the energy solutions to actually, so that I can have the ability here to be alerted when there's suddenly a peak usage at home because my son's got in early and he's put his air conditioning on and all the games are on and he's left all the lights on. For me, any technology that gives you that ability to make those decisions is where we need to go.
I think from my perspective, when it comes to technology, and I'll look at it from the inside first, starting with sort of my experiences within Penguin, is investing in technology that's going to make you as efficient as possible. For us, we were quick to get on the CAFM side of things, but our accounting software that came 6 months down the line, but I wish I'd done it 6 months sooner. Technologies that actually you can bring together and get them to link up. From that perspective, from within a business, I sing them all day long. From a perspective, from a client side of things, touching on those sides where saving costs, that sort of thing. I think there's I read a piece the other week where there's technologies now where it's not just monitoring your energy, but also where they can actually control different elements within the building that are being used. It's the one that I read specifically was around water usage, and when your heating system actually turns on to heat water, and then monitors the temperatures within your hot water cylinders, doesn't do it at inefficient times, it only does it when the energy rates are lower. So you don't do it in an evening or early in the morning when less energy is being used, so it's at a lower cost. But then also on top of that, it also then links into when our renewable energy sources are at their most abundant. If wind and tidal power are having spikes from the system, it's then linking in with that and actually kicking in the heating systems to draw energy to generate heat within the building at those times when the grid is supplying more renewable energy.
I think it's very much a combination of both what Ed and Paul said. Energy sustainability is really driving factor for most operators and building owners. So the more comfortable you are translating that data, because I think it would be a good way to understand what the data actually means and how I can act on it. So I think first and foremost, you need to know what the issues are in your building, and then find the software that can help you deliver on them. So it's really important to understand your own KPIs and find a software that can help you deliver on that. But overall, I would support what both my colleagues here have said, that the potential is endless. We just need to embrace it. It takes time to embrace things. So for many organisations, have the patience and obviously the checkbook.